everybody. Welcome to the IG Live Talk series. We are back for the summer. I'm so excited to be able to continue this series that we have here. I love that everybody is just so supportive and interested. I've had so many people want to get interviewed for the IG Live Talk series. So I'm just really excited to be able to just continue on the stories, continue on the different gems and interviews of different special guests that we've had. It's been a joy. But I am really excited for our back-to-back series that we have because, of course, I always love supporting our queens who are indie filmmakers. They are going back to the basics and they are not waiting on Hollywood, and they're just doing their own thing. And so my first guest that we have is Miss Joy. She is based in Houston, Texas. Shout out to my people in Texas. I love Texas, even though the weather and the freeways sometimes be a little off. Y'all be on construction every 10 seconds, but I still love y'all. Shout out to Joy. She's a filmmaker, director, and the founder of Joypark Studios, an independent production company built from the ground up in Texas. We are going to be talking about all things creative and how, not going through the regular traditions of, I'm going to get my script to Netflix, I'm going to get my script to Paramount, and really just honing your own community, your audience, and your fan base. And so I'm excited to bring on Joy. She's going to bring so many different gems, and I'm going to learn so much because, again, I'm an unscripted documentary, so I don't really know too much about film and especially the scripted side and all the things. I know people are talking about verticals. So we are going to bring her in and have her, let's see if I can go ahead and request her in. Yes. And also, too, I wanted to announce some QOP things that's going on with us as well. We have some, hey, Joy!
Hey!
I love her background with the roses and the gems.
Yes.
I already know that we are going to have an amazing conversation. How are you doing, Queen?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I am doing good over here in California. The weather is doing pretty nice. It's starting to warm up a little bit, so it's not too shabby over here. How's everything going on in Texas?
It's hot in Texas. It's hot in Texas.
And what's so funny? The weather has switched up so much that honestly, we get in the humidity and we get in the South just as much here too. I feel like everybody's coming along and bringing the weather with them. But as we kind of tap into, before we start our interview, I did want to give some announcements for what we have going on with QOP. We actually are going and moving into doing our own content. So like I said, all of the IG Live Talk series, including this interview here, will move over to our YouTube channel. So if you missed the interview today, don't panic. We will make sure to give that information to Joy so she can be able to spread around. And also we will have short clips and the link to in our bio. So if you've missed it, you'll immediately have the full interview on our links to go to our YouTube channel where we are actually crafting our own content. We are not waiting anymore. And so I'm excited to announce that we are going to do a collaboration with 1025 Productions. Shout out to my mentee, Tay. We are going to be doing an archival docuseries, Preserve My Archives. And I'm going to be the first one to tell my story. I have kept this archival that my grandfather had given to me. He is all things African-American memorabilia. That's actually what got me interested. He passed away in 2021 during the midst of the pandemic, and the box was led to me, and I have not opened it since that recording. So you will get the full-on real reactions of all the things that me and him really connected together as a family and all of the African memorabilia. I remember back then he used to collect books, to slave documents, to all the things.
Oh, wow.
I just don't know what's in that box. So I'm excited to announce that we will have that premiere on Juneteenth. And so we will have those back-to-back episodes in that new series, Craft Debate. But alongside with our stuff, Joy, how did you, start into storytelling? What made you get interested in filmmaking? And I would honestly say, as an icebreaker, what was that one movie that made you be like, oh yeah, I want to do this. I want to do behind the scenes?
Honestly, one of my favorite movies, I used to watch it in high school, was Save the Last Dance. And I know, now, looking back on it, we really hyped that movie up in high school. But, I just really loved just the way they told the story, from the color grading to the music to just everything about it. I used to watch it over and over and over, not necessarily just for the story, but how they told the story. Right. And I just really knew that this was something that I could get into, but life kind of was lifing, and I kind of put it aside for several years.
Mm.
And I was really working in like government sector, and I picked it back up in 2019 writing children's books. And I actually turned one of my children's books into an animated series. And it
Wow.
was really at that moment when I saw like my words come to life through animation on screen, like something really just kind of clicked. And I was like, man, I wonder if I could actually make a film. And that's kind of how it all happened.
And you know what? Save the Last Dance is actually a really good element. I tell people all the time, like the 90s to the 2000s, I really think was a good golden era of filmmaking for us
Yes.
because we just saw so many different Baskin or Robbins of different flavors of genre storytelling, character development, relationships at that time.
Yes.
People were actually taking risk, and the actual big fish that were buying into it were actually investing into it. So it was just a
Yeah.
good time.
It
And so,
was.
and so for you, did you take the route of going to film school, going to fellowships, or what was your route that kind of got you into the educational side of filmmaking and production?
So I had zero training. I did
Listen,
not know
hey,
how.
hey, as what we're saying,
Zero.
all our legends from now until then, sometimes you do not have to go to film school to actually have to storytell, especially now with YouTube being number one. You can really put
Yeah,
anything on the board and you can get viral instantly. So I don't knock
that
you.
part.
I don't knock you.
No, for real. And honestly, for me, I didn't know how to write a script. I didn't know anything about putting a movie together. So
Hmm.
I created like, I call it like my digital mentor circle. People that I've never really met, but that I followed and that I looked up to and that I aspired to be like. So I would follow Tyler Perry, Shonda Rhimes, Ava DuVernay. I kind of engulfed myself in what they were doing on YouTube, on their social media,
Hmm.
in all their films and their projects. I would go and get their scripts because you can download different scripts and things like that online. So I would get their scripts, and like I took Shonda Rhimes' master class. So I would
Wow.
take her first script that she did for Scandal, and then I would watch Scandal while looking at her script. And so I was studying what was on the page while looking at how that translated on screen. While still building my animated series, I really tried a lot of it out on my animated series because my series started off as just music, kind of like Gracie's Corner.
Yeah.
But then it kind of developed into an actual animated series. So
Mm.
where I had to write the script and the dialogue. So I did a lot of trial and error, probably for about 2 years, just learning and growing and trying things out before actually writing my first short film in 2025.
Wow. And so for you, what would be like learning from that experience? What would be the pros and cons of having experience and then not having experience in filmmaking? Because I know sometimes when you don't have the experience, you're kind of like you said, you're really just kind of basing off of what you're seeing around you, which you've had that bubble of amazing legends that you can fall back on.
Right.
What was the pro of having that, and then what was the con? Because I know for me, a storyteller, sometimes it gets into that realm of like you don't want to be just like them, or you don't want
Right.
to be like pigeon-toed in a certain era. Like I've been
Yeah.
learning a lot. I've been actually getting to know a lot of Black women that are interested in thrillers and making thriller films and
Yes.
short films
Yes.
and stuff. And so for you, like, what would be the pro and con of, even though you did take that journey, like, was it a good thing to have like around, or was it a bad thing? Yes, we are recording it. If you do miss the recording, we will have it on our QOP YouTube channel if you missed it. Thank you, girl. Shout out to my girl Brittany.
Yeah, so I think for me, like, I think the pro is obviously just being able to learn from legends because they're legendary. They're doing the work that I want to do. So being able to see that it is possible and learn from them, I think that was amazing. I think the con would be the not knowing. So when I first stepped on my first set, like all of that training, I still feel like it wasn't maybe quite enough because I was also directing it. And I feel like there was a lot more that I could have learned, but experience became my teacher for sure after doing my first film. But I could have been more confident doing my first film, I feel, if I maybe would have went the more traditional route and went to film school because then you're giving more opportunities to see how a set works, to see how, directing works and all of that. But honestly, you know, God, he came through and he gave
Yeah.
me the insight to get through and make it through the first film. But I definitely feel like going to school probably would have helped just a little bit when I first started out.
And you know what? I hear a lot of filmmakers have what I would call the first film jitters, where
Hmm.
you feel like you, even for myself, I had like that experience of doing a project, and it's like you get prepared, you're up early, all the things, you prepare as much as you can, and then you still have the rigmaroles of just monkey wrenches that just get thrown all over. People get
Yes.
late, traffic, all the things. And so for you, what was your like first film jitter? I know for me, it was, I know time. Because time is money. And so I try my best to like make that call sheet with my AD as very tight as possible.
Hmm.
Make sure everybody had enough space to eat. Everybody had enough space to take a break. Everybody had enough space for hair, makeup, all the things. But I think that morning, one of the talent ran late. And so it kind of trickled a little bit. And it was
Hmm.
like I had to go like, okay, y'all, I'll be right back. And I just had to
Yeah.
like pray, take a deep breath, take a corner, and then I went back in because you being the person that created the project, it's like you have to hold yourself, and you can't break down. You can't like let out your emotions. So
Yes.
I would say that would be my first film or first project jitter is like how to deal with the emotions like in real time, but not let it show on your face too much.
Right. Yeah.
What would
I
be your
think
first film
honestly,
jitter?
for me, it was getting to the set. Like
Mm.
so much happened prior to getting to the set. I'm like, if I can just get there, I don't care if it's just me and my husband and my sister and the cast. I'm like, we can get it done. But it seemed like it was so many obstacles before we got to set.
Wow.
We lost several makeup artists like 3 days before. The
Mm.
first artist was like, she signed the contract. She's like, I can't do it. Found another replacement the day before. She's like, I can't do it. And so I'm literally 17 hours before the shoot.
Yeah.
And I'm like searching Instagram. I'm on threads. I'm everywhere trying to find a makeup artist.
Mm.
Finally found a makeup artist who now she rocks with us on everything that we do.
I love
So
it.
she's kind of become part of Joypark family. We had issues with the catering, with the location, like so many obstacles were coming. I think that was really my jitter. I'm like, man, are we going to actually be able to make this and create this? Because I know it's going to be impactful. We just
Mm.
have to get to the set.
Mm. That is actually a good jitter because honestly, like you said, like you really try your best to make it the perfect day on set, and sometimes it still becomes the perfect day just depending on
Yeah.
the experience. But some days it just little tweaks in here and there just don't make it as good perfect as you can. And
Yeah.
so, from your experience for your first film, what would be the best advice for a young queen who wants to do their own film and has like just no experience and just has that drive and has the fire to want to get that on that platform or want to get that film out there?
Don't wait for anyone to greenlight you. Go ahead and greenlight yourself. Take a chance on yourself and believe in yourself. For me, I'm an introvert. So
Mm.
me being on camera and being a director, like it's against everything that I want to do,
Yeah.
but I know that it's my purpose to do it. So don't let fear, don't let anxiety, don't let anything stop you. Go after it. Don't worry about your budget. Don't worry about anything else. Create your table, find your crew, and just go for it.
And so I think the biggest question that I have is once you get that film done and it's, you feel like it is like perfect. I feel like also the challenge is next steps is marketing. So
Mhm.
for the indie space for filmmakers, what are some like, you know, resources or some things you had to think about when it came to marketing your project? Did you do the route of, I know that some indie filmmakers, they have like their own IG account or social account for the film, and we see the process from Kickstarter to wherever it lands, whether it's the film festival or it gets the distro. Some others do more of an in-person route where we've seen on the higher level with Boots Riley, with I Love Boosters, doing all opportunities of like the gas station pop up to even, going to Will Packer doing college tours. So for you on the indie side, what was some of your marketing strategy points when it came to getting your film out there and not being lost in the sauce with the era of social media?
Yeah, for sure. Like for me, I definitely use my personal social media just to make posts, kind of like behind the scenes posts. I also have a Joypark Studios social media where
Mm.
I posted like different things that we did on set. I have YouTube. So I do like a creator talk where I kind of talk about the process of creating a film and being a filmmaker. And then in person, honestly, one of the most impactful nights was the screening for my film Deliver Us. We kind of made it because the film kind of talks about grief and mental health. So I had a panel of mental health counselors. I had vendors there who worked at like mental health facilities, well, not facilities, but kind of they deal with pain and trauma and things like that. So they were there to offer brochures. We had snacks, and we really made it like an impact night. That's kind of what we call it. And I think that's been the most impactful because I've had people follow up with me from that, people that want to invest because of what they saw there that night. I think really that intimate setting was probably the best marketing that I could have done because I was able to actually target the market that the film was made for.
Yeah, and I think it is important, especially when you do topics that are very, very sensitive topics like mental health, women's health, history, people, crime, things when it comes to really in-depth trauma. I love that you had professionals included in that because I feel like sometimes as filmmakers, we feel like we could tell so many stories, but sometimes you got to fact check too. And sometimes it doesn't
Yeah.
always have to be an online research. It sometimes has to be that specialist or someone that has the degree or the background to be able to give that overall spectrum. Because yes, you want that film, someone to come out of it like, yes, I like the film. But you also too want someone to come out of the film being like, it changed their life, it changed their
Yes.
perspective on that topic, it changed their perspective or gave them more awareness or even appreciation of the topic. Like I think the biggest thing I talked about a while ago with Flex Media was how autism was now being put on the forefront around like the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
when the Proud Family came around. And I loved how the Proud Family integrated autism within one of the kids, but did it in a way that wasn't of a mockery, but more of a, really knowledge, information, and taking away from, you may have someone in your family that has this is some things that you may have to do in an
Yeah.
animated way, in a very light way
Yeah.
that I can understand it as an adult, but then also my niece can be able to understand it as her child. And it brings conversation. And so
Mm-hmm.
for you, was that something that you wanted as your takeaway for your film? And tell us a little bit more about the film.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I definitely, so the film is kind of, it doesn't really fit neatly into a box. So it's a thriller, but it's also faith-based. And you really don't hear that a lot.
I
That
was
has
gonna
like a
say
faith
either it's one or the
or the
other, either
other.
thriller or faith,
Right.
because faith don't really touch too much. Like it's like its own, like you said, box. Wow.
Exactly. So I
Yeah.
wanted to create my own lane, my own little box. Because I mean, when you see faith-based movies, we, Christians, we like thrillers and we like, but we also deal with things just like everyone else. We're no different from anyone else. We deal with mental health issues. We need God, we need therapy, we need it all. So that was kind of my takeaway. I wanted people to see that even in your hardest times, God is still there and he's still able to deliver. Even when your mind feels like it's going to break, it's not going to break. It may bend, but it's not going to break. And that's really kind of what Deliver Us is about. It's about a woman who's kind of navigating her own mental health trauma after losing her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're kind of seeing her real time deal with that. And it kind of has some, suspenseful elements in it as well. But at the end, you definitely see that deliverance come through.
I love that. And so for you, when you were at the screening, what was some of the reactions that you saw from the audience?
They definitely there were some jump scares, so I think that kind of caught them off guard. But I
Yeah.
think the reactions were people were like, "Man, this is amazing!" And I actually had a woman come up to me after the screening, and she said she wasn't going to come. She was like, "I wasn't going to come here. I didn't know, but I just felt depressed to come here, and now I see why." She had actually just lost her husband 3 weeks prior to coming to the screening, and she said this was healing for me. And I'm like, I feel like for me, just that one person saying that, I'm like, this is why I do storytelling. This is why I'm making film, because I want to make a difference. I want people to be able to experience God in a different way. You don't always, everyone's not going to always come into the church at first. sometimes you have to go out and present it in a different way. And she was able to receive it. So for me, I think that was the most impactful feedback that I got from the whole night of the screening.
And I love that because, especially that we are in a different era of like the church where once the pandemic hit, a lot of people did not go back into the brick and mortars of church, but people found different ways to keep their faith, which was going
Yeah.
either to Bible studies, community-based, intimate-based groups. But I started to see more rise of like Christian-based like film, but more of like integrated, like taking that risk. I think in the early 2000s, we was just taking a risk within the music,
That part,
with
yeah.
Kirk Franklin and Mary Marys and all of them that really tried to integrate like that hip hop or like that urbanness aesthetic with the music side. And now we're seeing it in film and TV. And so I feel like, shout out to you to be able to take on this type of topic and get the audience to really not only understand it, but respect it. And
Yeah.
so for you, how has your production company, like, is this kind of the overall like mantra that your production company tries to go through with some of the projects you do? Or is there other projects that you have on your slate that is kind of in different tastes of your stuff that you're working on? And are you currently like in film festival route, or like where is some of the status of some of your projects you have coming up?
Yeah, so Deliver Us, that's the one I was just talking about. It's kind of finishing up its festival run right now.
Okay.
And so I'll have more, to talk about and announcements and things like that. I just actually shot a sci-fi psychological thriller.
Ooh,
This past,
you went out of
yes,
the box, Joy. Okay.
yes. And it's like when we were filming it, we were like, okay, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So it's in post-production right now. There's gonna be some really cool like sci-fi elements to it, and there's a twist to it as well. So I love that. In September, I think I heard you talking about verticals. I'm actually filming a vertical comedy series in September,
Okay. And
and
so
it's called I
tell
Just
me
Work
your
Here.
views about verticals. Because I know
Yes.
everybody has been like, it's the gold rush, it's the gold mine, it's everything. How do you feel about verticals, and how do you feel about going into this project? Because I know film is like you get 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours if you want to tell the story. Now verticals, you got to tell it a little bit shorter. So tell
Yeah.
me some of your strategies that you want to kind of go into it with this project that you're doing for verticals that you may either bring into from your film experience or that you want to
Mhm.
try new.
Definitely for me, I think because it's a comedy and because it's going to be a shorter time, I'm like, just make sure it's funny and make
Mm.
sure that, it lands with the people and they want to keep coming back to watch it. So that's really my approach. I'm so excited. I've never shot a vertical before. So I'm really excited to,
Yes.
experiment with it. Like, I'm not afraid to try new things at all. I'm not like held down to one particular genre. So I'm really excited. I think verticals are great. I kind of look at them like mini soap operas. And I used to watch
I
soap
agree too.
operas with my mom when I was a kid, and I would always be hooked. They would always leave you on a cliffhanger. So I'm
Exactly.
really excited to dive into it. And I mean, I watch them all the time, and people
Yeah.
are always on their phone. So why not give them something of yours to watch?
And so I'll say even a twist for this. Do you think that the God faith based content, do you think that it could be able to sustain in the vertical space?
I think I do. I think so. I think if it's the right material, I definitely think it can, but it
Mm-hmm.
has to be engaging.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be some other type of element to it to get people to attach to it. But I
Yeah.
definitely think it can,
Yeah.
if it's written correctly.
I was going to say, as far as writing, and we'll kind of have our last two questions. When it comes to writing in a faith based project, what are some things for a new filmmaker to keep in mind? Um, like, yes, you want to go outside of the box, or, because I know sometimes, like, for example, when it comes to doing faith based and they want to talk about infidelity or cheating and things like that, how are you able to still give it that balance, but still hitting the point and not making it feel boring and not making it feel fluffy?
Yeah, I think you don't want to just like preach the word to them, like, just recite the Bible to them. You want to show them what that looks like in real time being lived out. So if you don't want to just look at somebody and be like, "Oh, God is love." You want to show them like, what does that mean? Like, show me visually what that means when you say God is love. Like you want to be able to have them experience that rather than just tell them. So I think that's kind of how I approach it. Even with Deliver Us, it's not a preachy film, but you
Yeah.
can feel that God is in the film, you know? So you kind of want to show instead of tell.
I love that. Y'all need to take notes, okay? Because Miss Joy over here, I think that you have captivated what a lot of people, or just like if you want to do a faith based or just even just outside of the box type of films, yes, explore it. If you haven't went to film school, listen, YouTube University is your best
That,
friend.
exactly.
But for you, Joy, I would say for our last takeaway, what would be an affirmation or a bit of like a motivation for those that feel like they're stuck? I know that we are in a time right now where a lot of people are pivoting away from the industry or not even wanting to create anymore. So what would you give advice to those that kind of are in that foot in and out the door when it comes to even wanting to make that film, or if that film goes left and they're not able to finish it? What are some advice that you would give to a filmmaker?
I would tell them honestly, kind of what God told me when I made my very first film, Bloom. And you know, Bloom won all these awards, and I didn't think it was going to be anything. But God told me before I made it, He said, "You already have what it takes. Now it's time to pull from what I gave you." So you already have everything that's in you to create what God has already given you. So go ahead and do it. Do it right here. Do it
Yes.
right now. Use what you have, and it will be excellent.
Oh, that even hit my soul. Let me go ahead and get my little editing together
Oh,
and get it to the finish line. Joy, it has been such a joy to talk to you. I think that you are a blessing. All the projects that you have with your production company, I wish them nothing but the best. The
thank
film
you.
festival runs, I hope it gets to the distro that you desire and that you deserve. Is and also want to tell too, where can we follow you? Where can we follow your projects, and where can we follow your production company as well?
Yeah, please. I'm gonna send everyone to YouTube because we're trying to grow our YouTube channel. So on
Yes.
YouTube is Joypark Studios TX, and then also on Instagram is Joypark Studios TX.
Ooh.
So please follow those platforms. We have a lot more that I haven't shared coming soon. So please follow.
Looks like we're gonna have you come back, Joy, for your part 2 series. And
Come
like I
on.
always say, IG Live Talk is always an open space for indie filmmakers, anybody that's doing projects, have businesses, brands. We open it all to the floor for everything because I feel like, we don't really support each other enough. And I think that's probably
Yeah.
how we connected. I was just reposting your stuff, and then I was like, I need to get you an interview.
Yeah.
And so I just thank you so much for just being on this platform. And is there any other advice or anything else that you want to tell us on the floor before we wrap out?
No, I think that's really everything. I really just want to thank you. Like I love your energy. I love everything about this
Thank
this
you.
podcast. Like you're such a great interviewer and you have like such a great spirit about you. So thank you so much for having me.
And thank you so much for your blessings in keeping the projects to where I want to interview you. Okay.
Got
And we will
it.
continue to support you. And like we said, she will give us the information to all her projects and everything. And this interview will go onto the YouTube channel as soon as probably the next hour because the girl got to vote. Make sure y'all vote, y'all. If you in California, it's due today. Okay. Because that's
That
going to make
part.
sure to change our lives for the next couple of years going into this Olympics. So Joy, I appreciate you as a filmmaker. And if you have ever felt that you've been in a rut or anything, utilize QOP as your cheerleader to be like, keep going, because we want to continue to have our stories out there, whether it's up there with Paramount or we going to have it in-house with our own people. And I appreciate you really bringing the forefront mental health because it's a very, very touchy subject. And it's
Yeah.
hard for a lot of filmmakers to get it to the finish line. So the fact that she was able to do that, applaud. And I want you to continue to do more.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Of course, anytime. So like I always say with QOP, live, love, create. We will have this interview here on our QOP YouTube channel. So be on the lookout in the next hour, y'all.
Okay.
Peace.